What happens when two powerful men go head-to-head in a battle of egos? Well, buckle up, because that's exactly what's unfolding between Mark Cuban and Donald Trump, and it's a showdown that's turning heads and making waves across the political landscape. But what makes this confrontation so explosive? It's not just about the words being exchanged. There's a deeper story here, one that involves business, politics, and a clash of personalities so intense it's almost like watching a high-stakes game of chess. Let's start with the basics. Mark Cuban, a self-made billionaire, has never been shy about calling out big names, and this time it's Donald Trump who's feeling the heat. Cuban's tweet came out of nowhere, but its impact was immediate, leaving Trump fuming and his followers scrambling to defend him. The question is, why did Cuban feel the need to take aim at Trump? And why has his response caused such a stir? Is it really about business, or is there something deeper at play here? Cuban's tweet was a direct hit on Trump's business acumen, or rather the lack of it. Cuban, who built his fortune by smart business moves and avoiding the spectacular failures that have dogged Trump's ventures, didn't mince words. He reminded everyone of the bankruptcies that Trump's name is associated with, which hurt more than a regular jab. It wasn't just an insult, it was a reminder that Trump's reputation as a business genius is as inflated as his ego. After all, it's one thing to own a brand, it's another to actually run a successful business without mishap. And just in case the message wasn't clear enough, Cuban took it even further by questioning Trump's actual net worth. Ouch! If you're Trump, who thrives on his public image of wealth and power, that's a serious blow. For someone who claims to be a titan of industry, the idea that Cuban, a fellow billionaire, would call into question his financial standing is more than just an insult. It's a challenge to everything Trump's built his brand around. But here's the kicker. Cuban didn't just throw out accusations, he did it with style. The tweet was a perfect blend of sharp wit and brutal honesty, landing with the precision of a seasoned professional. This wasn't the typical Twitter tirade. It was a calculated move to expose Trump's weaknesses in a way that hit where it hurts most: his ego. Cuban's reputation as a businessman is solid, and when he speaks, people listen. So when he starts pointing out Trump's business failures, it carries weight. Now, let's talk about Trump's response. Is it any surprise that his reaction was anything but measured? Trump is known for his impulsive Twitter outbursts, and this time was no different. But the way he responded by calling Cuban overrated was almost comical. After all, what's more overrated than someone who spent their career bankrupting casinos and constantly playing the victim card? Trump's response was classic, loud, defensive, and entirely lacking in substance. He didn't address Cuban's points directly. Instead, he opted to take cheap shots, including bragging about his television ratings from The Apprentice, because apparently that's the bar for political leadership now. Trump's tirade was almost laughable, especially when you consider the sheer incoherence of some of his tweets. The spelling, the grammar, it was like a digital meltdown, proof that even a president can't avoid the indignities of autocorrect. His defenders were quick to rally, of course, but their arguments were as flimsy as the defenses Trump often puts up when cornered. It was a classic case of noise without substance. Lots of shouting, but no real answers. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite all the noise, Trump's reaction only confirmed Cuban's original point. The more Trump ranted, the more he exposed his own insecurities and lack of substance. Cuban's tweet didn't just question Trump's business decisions. It pulled back the curtain on his thin skin and lack of real depth when it comes to policy or leadership. It was like watching a deflated balloon. Trump's tough exterior crumbled as soon as someone with more substance challenged him. Now, let's take a moment to consider why this matters. In the political world, image is everything. Leaders are often judged not just by their policies, but by how they respond to criticism. Trump's constant Twitter tantrums are a testament to his inability to handle opposition, and Cuban's tweet only exacerbated this. It's one thing to be loud and brash, but it's another to back up your words with actual substance. The fact that Trump never addresses the heart of Cuban's criticism, the business failures, the lack of a coherent strategy, speaks volumes about his inability to lead effectively. And yet it's clear that for some, Trump's behavior is Part of the appeal, his supporters are drawn to his unapologetic demeanor and his ability to dismiss critics with a wave of his hand. But what happens when someone like Mark Cuban, who's not afraid to call out the emperor for not wearing any clothes, steps in? Well, that's when the emperor's true nature starts to show. Trump might have a loyal following, but Cuban's direct challenge to his image cuts through the noise and leaves him exposed. It's a powerful reminder that even billionaires have their weaknesses, and even the loudest voices can be silenced when someone with more substance steps in. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Cuban's tweet wasn't just about firing shots at Trump. It was about exposing the flaws in his public persona and his inability to back up his bravado with real-world success. It's about showing that Trump, despite all his claims of success, has never really proven himself in the ways that matter. Cuban didn't just take down Trump's ego, he exposed the truth behind the facade, and in the process, he reminded us all that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't the one you use to fight back, it's the one that exposes the lies. In the end, this feud between Cuban and Trump isn't just a battle of words, it's a clash of values. Cuban's success is built on reality, on hard work, and on building something that lasts. Trump's success, on the other hand, has often been tied to his ability to manipulate his image, to play the game, and to shout louder than anyone else. But as Cuban's tweet proved, there's more to success than just noise. And when someone like Cuban decides to call out Trump's bluff, it's a reminder that in the end, the truth always comes out, no matter how many tantrums you throw.